Like, what is?
Won't be difficult then.
He's,
Go ahead.
he's
We're live.
flustered because we have a crowd.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order of Point Edward Village Council. Tuesday, May the 26th at 5 o'clock. First, I'll read the land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that this land on which we are gathered today is part of the ancestral land of the Chippewa, Ottawa, and Potawatomi peoples, referred to collectively as the Anishinaabe. It is through the connection of the Anishinaabe with the spirit of the land, water, and air that we recognize their unique cultures, traditions, and values. Together as treaty people, we have a shared responsibility to act with respect for the environment that sustains all life, protecting the future for those generations to come. Next is pecuniary interest. So Councillor Burgess has declared pecuniary interest again when we talk about Alfred Street,
I got one for fence exemption height.
and Councillor Mondu when we get to talk about offense. Okay, thank you. And we have two delegations tonight, so we're going to start with Tourism Sarnia-Lambton. And Adam is here, Adam Bean. So would someone make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Right, invite Adam into the bar. Seconder, thank you, sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, so you can come up to the table here and then you can be seen on the screen.
Tight fit in here. All right. Well, good afternoon or good evening. We're right in that middle ground here. Mayor, council, members of the public, staff. I do want to thank for the opportunity to present today. I am Adam Bean. I'm the interim executive director for Tourism Sarnia-Lambton. I appreciate the continued partnership with the village of Point Edward and the important role that the municipality plays in the success of tourism across the region. And today I really just want to come in front of council and provide a brief overview and update of who our organization is, some of the changes that have happened recently, the impact of tourism regionally, as well as touching a little bit on the MAT initiatives from our end of things, as well as spark some ideas, some conversation, open the doors between your staff, you as councillors, and the municipality of Point Edward and all of your businesses. Obviously, we want opportunities to see the continued growth of your municipality of Point Edward. So just a little bit about us, Tourism Sarnia-Lambton. We are the destination marketing organization for the county. We really exist to market and develop tourism experiences that strengthen the economy across the whole county and individually in each municipality. So our role really goes beyond promotion. We are the advocate for tourism infrastructure, supporting business development in that tourism landscape and helping to position the region competitively in Ontario's tourism marketplace. So our vision is to be the industry leaders that supports the municipality across the county. All of the municipalities, our tourism operators, our community partners, and through collaborative destination development. And really one of the strongest elements is the strategic marketing. I do want to just focus quickly on some of the staff changes that we do have. We've got an updated team. We've got a small but highly collaborative team that's really focused on destination marketing, visitor service, event development, content creation, and of course, industry support and development. So on our team, I am currently the interim executive director as well as the marketing director for the organization at this current time. We have Bailey Tremblay, who is our cultural, entertainment, and programming coordinator. So she works closely with helping to collaborate to bring in conferences, sporting events, cultural events, developing them, building them up from that tourism or from that local element into that tourism landscape, fostering that growth, as well as she assists on some of the programming on our end that also facilitates that growth. Terry Jeffries, our destination marketing coordinator. So that's really a liaison directly with the businesses to move them from a simple point of sales into that tourism, that experiential growth aspect of the tourism landscape, as well as she assists with a lot of the marketing elements that I currently undertake in my marketing role. And then Jessica Capes is our office administrator and visitor experience coordinator. So she puts together a lot of the programming, the pamphlets for all of our businesses, all of our tourism aspects, manages our visitor center, which we welcome people as they cross the Blue Water Bridge or heading on the 402 to travel, hopefully within Lambton County for their stay for the weekend or for the week or wherever they're going in their future travels. And then we just hired a finance and bookkeeper to try and do some additional work as well. And Linda's been a valuable member of our team. Just to kind of highlight, we're coming up on the end of our strategic planning. It's 2023 to 2026 was the last strategic plan. So as we are currently underway, we're almost halfway through the 2026 year. We are coming to the end of the our strategic plan initiatives. And just to outline what we have done, we've worked really on waterfront tourism, recreation, culinary tourism, and events and entertainment. So really highlighting some of the strongest aspects that we do have. Obviously, being the municipality of Point Edward along the coastline, you understand that we have we've got that strong waterfront tourism element, as well as that recreational tourism element as well. And that's really been a strength for the last few years that we've been working on. As well as our organizational priorities from the board level to our operational level. We've been focused on increasing the strength of our governance, the destination marketing and development. Tara was one of the key hires for that initial expansion in our development and our role, as well as advocacy for the tourism sector. So that's across all different levels of business aspects for development, for growth, for funding. We really are trying to, from the board directive to the regional level, is push that tourism advocacy. So one of our most important parts of our role is that we help residents and council understand that tourism is simply not recreation. It's development in the economic world, in a larger experiential landscape. And that's really what we want to communicate with our strong core priorities. And as we move forward into the 2027 year, obviously we will focus on some of those trends, which I will get to here shortly. So I really wanted to touch today quickly on Point Edward and regional tourism. I've been going around reintroducing our organization to the different municipalities, as well as just touching on how your municipality fits into that tourism landscape. Sometimes it's a good refresher, good reminder. It sparks some ideas as counselors, as your relationship with your ears to the ground with all of your local businesses. There's maybe something that could have been in the back of the mind that hasn't been talked about for a while or hasn't been thought about for a while. And I'm here to kind of help foster that idea and bring it back out and reestablish the communication between the municipal staff and our tourism organization. So Point Edward in the regional tourism landscape is really, it's strategically important for the municipality as in Lambton County, because obviously where we are geographically, it's literally the first impression of Sarnia Lambton through the Blue Water Bridge, through the waterfront, the accommodations, the restaurants, the marina, and entertainment assets like the casino. So the village really represents one of the largest tourism aspects that we have for one of the smallest municipalities within Lambton County. It's really a viable asset for us as Tourism Sarnia Lambton, for the county as whole in that tourism landscape. And with that, also you have to, we do understand that you are because of the accommodation sector that Point Edward has, they really are one of the largest contributors to the municipal accommodation tax revenue. And that makes your partnership especially important when we are the destination marketing organization. So why does that matter? That's the one thing. Why does the municipal accommodation tax matter to us as an organization, to you as a municipality, to the region as a whole? So it's incredibly important because it creates that sustainable funding source that is directly reinvented or reinvested into our tourism growth. So they allow us as Tourism Sarnia-Lambton to execute major regional campaigns, which really in past iterations of the organization were never a viable aspect. So we are now able to compete with larger municipalities, with larger regions, because we have such a strong tourism aspect for a smaller, what we'd say small to mid-size region is what we'd really be classified as, but we are allowed to, this is allowing us to compete with regionally with a stronger visual, stronger impact, and hopefully in the end, stronger results. So obviously we promote those accommodations and attractions to attract those overnight visitors and expand our audience reach in both Ontario and the US markets. So the important thing to remember is that marketing is regional by nature. So visitors don't typically choose one municipality. They choose the destination by the experience. Point Edward plays a major role in that overall identity, obviously because of the assets that you have at your disposal, at our disposal to market to those regions. But it does become, not only does it become viable for you as a municipality with that income, it also becomes viable for the whole county because the visitor doesn't see those borders, right? They travel in and out as Will goes. To move on to, let's go to the value of tourism in Sarnia-Lambton. So this is just a quick overview of some of the stats that have come to light over the last year or so. So really in Ontario, it's a $30.9 billion GDP as far as tourism in the economic landscape. So that really translates to over $30 billion in visitor spending annually in our province. So every tourism dollar, it circulates through the local economy, benefiting the restaurants, the retailers, our local business attractions, but also the municipality to allow them to see the viability and increase in infrastructure and the support that goes along with those businesses as well. In Sarnia-Lambton for 2025, through the work that Tourism Sarnia-Lambton has executed over that calendar year, we've welcomed approximately 1.8 million Canadian visitors, and we actually saw an 8% growth in domestic visitation. Obviously, we can see with the political climate, with the way that visitor traveling, their sentiments towards cross-border travel has happened. That was kind of an undertaking or a trend that we could foresee happening. But we've really tried to capitalize on that and make sure that they know that we are one of those aspects, one of those locations for that inter-provincial travel as one of the destinations. But in that sentiment too, we still had over 100,000 US visitors over the last year, which really we've tried to create that welcoming message and keep those numbers up and keep them strong. We did see a slight decrease. Obviously, there's from COVID to the political climate, there is a lot of misunderstanding, I think, in cross-border travel, and that's the message as Tourism Sarnia-Lambton tries to convey the actual importance and ease and benefits of the US market coming over to Sarnia-Lambton and to Ontario and Canada. So I just wanted to touch a little bit on how Point Edward's MAT investment will fuel the tourism growth. So really, obviously I touch base on the marketing initiatives. That's one of the big things from our element. Obviously, we are the destination marketing organization. So marketing is really the main thing we want to do. Digital campaigns, television campaigns, photography, content creation, social media, website, search engine optimization, visitor services. Those are the advantages and the expertise that we bring to the table for that growth through that MAT investment and the elements that we can utilize are specialties to really have a long-lasting impact on the whole region and on the businesses within your municipality as well. As well as we can go on to some major marketing initiatives as well. So with some of the plannings that we've done through our strategic initiatives, we have seen an increased growth in our audience, in our impressions, in our overall return on the investment for every single dollar that we've spent. We have over 15.4 million impressions from our digital campaigns last year alone, with a higher benchmark for what we call, this is some of the analytics and nerd stuff for the marketer, but the click-through rate. So a return on investment, one, you're getting your eyes on the product, on the businesses, as you've seen through the slides. I'm showcasing all the Point Edward businesses, some of the photography that we've utilized with some of the funding that we've had, but the click-through rate means that we're engaging with that audience. They're wanting to learn more, or there's a direct bookable link that they're utilizing to book their stay, to book their dinner reservations while they're here. And those are the analytics that we really look at the most across the region, not just as the destination marketing organization, but as a regional tourism organization. They look at that click-through rate and those overall impressions as the key metrics for how our campaigns are doing and how we're appealing to those audiences. We've been able to enhance our earned media partnerships as well. Obviously, the travel writers are noticing. When a travel writer notices, they reach out and they want to come and experience those offerings. And we've had cross-promotional campaigns with different travel writers from all the way from California to Vancouver to some overseas travel writers as well that have wanted to come and visit and experience the best of Sarnia Lambton. And I really think that contributes to the fact that we have been able to market in a more expansive element as well on that. So showcasing Point Edward, there is a short little video if you want to play. This was one of the, I think you just hover over it, click it there, Jim. We'll click.
Not the way it's been saved.
Yeah, this is saved as a PDF, so.
Oh, that you've got the PDF one going.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not a big deal. I was just going to showcase just one of our more recent videos that we did in the early spring. But what we have been able to do is showcase different elements of the county through these new visual means. And this one was really showcasing some of the local businesses from the Bridge Pastry Shop to Los Puntos to one of our accommodations, 4 Points, as well as we've done stuff with like Marson Bowl, as well as we've worked with like the Flakery Bakery and of course Point Brewing, as well as part of one of our craft beverages brewers. And that video just kind of showcased some of the highlights on that. To move on now to what's next. So this is, like I said, we're coming up to the end of our strategic plan. We're working on what we're seeing in the sector trends, what we see that's growing strong for tourism over the next several years. And obviously the short-term domestic trip is where we really see the stronghold in what's going to be our key market. Like I said, there's the sentiments back and forth. It's up and down on how travelers want to spend their vacation. And really it's going to be more close to home travel. It's going to be more based in that Ontario, that 4-hour drive minimum, weekender, like I said, short term. So we really want to capitalize that over the next couple of years. The other thing is that experiential tourism element, which is really starting to grow. And that's not just a unique bookable experience where they can see a little bit of behind the scenes, they can get their hands dirty and see what the actual tourism producer does, but it's also a more slowed down nature wellness kind of tourism where it's not just here's your product, get out the door, you're all done, move on to the next thing. It's you're spending a prolonged time there, but you're getting a longer lasting impression, a longer lasting experience that's really going to make you a champion for not only that business but for sharing that message and coming back to the region. And that's really something that's a storytelling element that not only we can share, but those visitors are going to share just naturally as well. So organically, that's really what we want to do. And obviously culinary is always going to be a strong suit. Everybody wants a place to lay their head, a place to eat, something to experience that way. And that's always going to be a strong suit moving forward. So really, we want to touch on, with those growing sector trends, where we are now with our new team, what is next for tourism in Point Edward. So there's always opportunities for growth, and this is where we're sparking some ideas. We can spark some conversation with the businesses, with your staff, with the residents, with you as the council as well. I do think that we can look at some enhanced and updating wayfinding stuff as you're crossing the border. There's some elements and some trails that we really could collaborate with to upgrade. I know we were just at the Lambton County Trails Summit, and they were talking about the Great Lakes Waterfront Trail that's obviously across the whole region with their signage program, but we were one of the early adapters to it. There's some wayfinding stuff that does need to be updated, does need to be touched on, and that's an opportunity for growth that way. The other thing is infrastructure. It's always going to be a talk, and I know it's always going to be the toughest conversation, because infrastructure does rely a lot on funding, not only at the municipal level, but it does rely on funding from the provincial level and from the federal level. And we all know that sometimes it doesn't come through in a viable means, but that's one of the things that we really want to see for an opportunity for growth as for Point Edward, is that growth in tourism infrastructure. You are like I said, you're the stronghold for the region. Let's stay that stronghold for the region as well. Building that growth, building the opportunities, being that first stop across the border, keep them here. That's what we want to really focus on, and that's what we want to work on. As well as this is across the whole region. Summers are great. It's always the time that people are out, but what we want to focus on again is the shoulder season. How can we increase offerings in the slower times to make sure that these businesses are viable 24/7 to those travelers and to those commuters as well. So just to wrap things up quickly, obviously we want to continue our work together. Our commitment has been to ensure that Point Edward Tourism investment delivers immeasurable value. We want to continue our collaboration with the village. We really want to help push the advocacy, help develop those businesses from just a retail model into that tourism experience, into growing their business for those visitors. Obviously increase our regional marketing strategy, and working directly with local businesses, with the staff, with the councillors, so that we can continue to amplify the village, Lambton County, with a strong regional campaign, and position us higher than some of the larger municipalities and larger regions within Ontario. So with that, I do want to thank you for your continued partnership and the support of Tourism Sarnia Lambton. Really, Point Edward's the essential part of the visitor experience in our region, and we look forward to working with you to strengthen, grow the economic impact, the regional destination awareness, and Point Edward and Lambton County as a whole. So I would be happy to answer any questions if anybody has any, and I will leave I'll leave some business cards here for everybody as well. You can always contact me anytime. Happy to chat.
Anybody have any questions? Something maybe you could highlight, Adam,
Sure.
since you and I are aware of it.
Mhm.
But the way that Lambton has increased where London, Windsor have decreased.
Yes, yeah, so over
In this last while.
yeah, in the last, actually, it's over the 2025 calendar year. We had London, Windsor, and some of the southwestern Ontario regions were down in their hotel occupancy rates, somewhere upwards of 5 to 20%. But we were able to increase our stay over the 2025 calendar year. In the single digits, we were around a 7% growth over the 2025 year. So it showcased the value of our marketing, the strategic plan on it, and that return on the investment that some of the larger regional ones were a decrease while we were able to keep steady and keep growing that. And we hope that that trend continues as we move forward.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Deputy Mayor Grimes?
Thank you, Mayor Hand. For you, Adam, how many visitors do you get at the center, and have you seen an increase since being on a mission is sharing your space?
We have seen an increase in local visitors that are rediscovering the visitor center, which actually is good because there is a lot of the Sarnia traffic that doesn't venture out too far in the county, and they're rediscovering points that are still within what you would call a tourist, hitting some of the Brook Elvinstons, Don Euphemia, doing some of the driving trails that way. So we have seen an increase in that. We have seen actually over April, our cross-border traffic and our visitor center was up. It was up about 2 or 3%, which is good this is actually the start. We haven't we're right now starting into the main season. So we were in like a pre-season, which is slower usually. But we can visit, we can usually see a few thousand people through the door in the summer season back and forth. So we have seen a lot more foot traffic that way, with the coffee shop being open. Yeah, we anticipate that we'll continue to see those numbers throughout the season.
Wonderful. The video you mentioned that showcases whatever, would we be able to post that on our website?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can share that with you. Yep, it's on our YouTube page too as well.
Okay.
And we're continuing. We just did another shoot. So it's all the assets we'll use in different elements too. So there's always features of Point Edward that are going to be showcased throughout our seasonal campaign this year. Yeah, and we're happy to share anything with you. And we have photos as well if you need anything like that. Just reach out to me if you're looking for something specific. Happy to share it.
Wonderful. So you talked about how the mat from Point Edward is a big contributor to the success of TSL, and that we have a large number of destinations for people. Mayor Hand has served on your board as a county appointee, right? Is there ever a chance that the village could have a seat on your board?
I believe that they're
Not county anymore.
Oh, aren't you?
No,
yeah, that's right. You're
we
not.
added a
Yeah,
county person.
yeah.
Oh,
Our,
okay.
our county
Christy.
person is from
Chrissy.
Chrissy
Oh,
from
okay.
the city of Sarnia.
Okay.
Is the
So
county.
you're on the board now as a
Yes.
Point Edward.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, wonderful. So yeah, that was my only other question was, so we had talked at the Finance and Admin Committee about expanding MAT to the short-term rentals,
Yes.
because I think we have a missed opportunity there in the village, and the number of short-term rentals are increasing, and even some of the hotels nearby are converting some of their areas to short-term rental. What are your thoughts on us doing that?
That's a tricky one, especially because you've already established your MAT agreement. A lot of the short-term rentals, when they're added in afterwards, there's talks about grandfathering who have already been a short-term rental versus new ones. Your on-site occupancy as well. Like there's a lot more intricacies on that bylaw. I'm happy to provide some information on where some of the challenges have been in introducing that when MAT's already in place. Usually it's a longer process for establishing that, but the collecting is obviously the same way through that for Orma, and they usually do they have a template for that short-term rental element, but it does become tricky because you have a lot of individual ownership compared to the hotel groups, right? So it's a delicate balance if you're going to introduce it. I do think there may be some public consultation you might want to do for that element before you jump into anything like that, just as a precaution.
And is that why some that have done that have moved to licensing of their STRs to be able to?
Yeah, to be able to make sure that they're tracking that everybody's accounted for, and of course there's the liability element too on that they want to make sure that they are reporting, and that's where the licensing element comes in, and that's where it ends up being, there is some like grandfathering elements too that I've seen in some municipalities where some of the discussions kind of backfired, and they've tried to alleviate that through a grandfathering clause. But for the most part, yeah, that's the licensing is the key element for that they're utilizing.
Well, I think we're expecting a report, right, on that, Jim, so, yeah, so we'll wait till we get the report, so, thank you, Mary Ann.
I'm gonna take this opportunity
Sure.
because I'm not sure that a lot of people recognize the products in the office in tourism.
Mhm.
It's all local county products.
Yep.
That are
Yeah.
at really good
Well,
price points.
Yes.
So if people are looking for a gift, like I bought 2 Canada shirts last week for $12.
Yeah, we do have the Canada elements, and then we have, it's a mix. We've got some Canada stuff, we've got some Lambton County stuff, as well as we have some local artists and local producers that we showcase in that, in the store as well.
Yeah,
So you can
it's
get a little
Lambton.
bit of everything, and it's
Yeah.
always changing and rotating. We're trying to bring in, new vendors, new artists, anything that we
Mhm.
really think showcases and highlights the region well. We're
But
trying to work on
when
that.
people are looking for giftware, it's something to remind them, hey, you go in there, you can get some local product.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
we always have to have the Canada brand too, because
Yeah.
we're the first stop across the
Yeah.
border, right? So, yeah.
Thank you.
I just have
Counselor Burgess?
one question.
Sure.
When we were first pitched the municipal accommodation tax, and I don't know how long you've been with Tourism Sarnia Lambton, there was talk about creating a reserve through the MAT tax for some sort of infrastructure to create a destination. Has anything moved on that? Do you know?
My understanding was the infrastructure element was what the municipal portion was. Is that not correct?
Yeah.
So the way it,
And I realize it wasn't you that pitched it, but I
Yeah.
was led to believe that through that might be a possibility to create a destination, maybe not specifically in Point Edward, but that Tourism Sarnia Lambton deemed as, something that would bring more people to the region.
yeah, so the way the contract currently is mostly for the marketing elements of the organization or of the region, for the continued increase in the accommodation stay. But there's always special cases where we can come to council and talk about doing some type of development, or the vice versa, council come to Tourism Sarnia Lambton if there's some development that you think is viable for the utilization of the portion that we put into reserves and have in that fund for those kind of infrastructure developments. I would have to review, would have to look at the policy to be sure, but I think that's usually the way it goes for that.
Okay. I just was following something recently. It was a social media post, and there's a person that posts stuff about history in Canada and did a poll for the great Canadian roadside attractions.
Okay.
Where people would detour off to look at, some great Canadian roadside attraction.
Mhm.
And I just think of all the traffic on the bridge. And it'd be interesting if we had something, that would pull someone off the bridge to the waterfront park because they saw it and wanted to figure out what that was. So
Oh, yeah.
I don't know exactly what that would be, but it might be an interesting contest to throw out to a school or things like that to see what kind of ideas that you might get.
Yeah, well, even recently we did have somebody that was traveling through the States and had mentioned about this is just maybe way in left field, but if you look at this, it's called Troll Map, and it's a Denmark artist, and he creates these 30-foot high trolls. It's all in the US. There's none in Canada right now. These are all sustainable wood creations. It's elaborate, but like you said,
No, but
something you don't know
that's-
what it is, but
yeah.
kind of things. Yeah, absolutely.
That's
People
what I'm
are
talking
traveling for
about.
them. They're trying to look for them. They're trying to hunt for them. It's not just geocache trying to find something small. It's when you have something elaborate, something large like that, like the nickel, look at it.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah,
You're trying to-
yeah.
It's something to take you off the road to go and experience, get your photo in front of, and while you're there, you're gonna spend some dollars, right? So that's your.
This guy went coast to coast and found every, Paul Bunyan statue and all those things that anywhere across and that people would pull off the road.
Yeah, well, we're always open to that conversation to try and develop something like that. I think that's a great idea.
The first Canadian troll.
No, I was thinking about
Roll under the bridge.
Under the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I was thinking though, the world's biggest sturgeon, because there's a spawning grounds right under the bridge. We have that
Yeah.
connection, tying with the Blue Water Anglers. But I don't want to steal a great idea if some child from Bridgeview School can submit it if they're paying attention.
We've talked, you talked quite a bit about the new digital media push. And you talked about the click-through rate being higher than the benchmark.
Yes.
Do you have the numbers for those? Like
Yeah,
ours
so-
and then the benchmark?
So benchmark's usually around 1.6%, 1.7%. We were at our last two campaigns, we were closing in on 3. We were about 2.7, I think. So we did really have some strong campaigns that way. We've had some that were right in that industry mark, but overall on average, we do show stronger around that percentage rate, which is, it seems like a low percentage, but when that's the industry benchmark, that's the way that people to catch their attention a little bit more, that's our goal, right?
Mhm.
So,
And then the impressions.
yes.
You said it increased quite a bit.
Mhm.
We saw that it was at about 15 million.
Yes.
That was last year's, or was that for this year to
That
date?
that was for last year. Yeah.
And did you have any numbers on like the previous years?
So previous years we did run smaller campaigns. Like we've been able to ramp them up. So I think I'd have to check my numbers, but we were about 12 million the year before, and about 10. Like we've consistently went up a few million each year. So
Do you see a correlation between the how much over the benchmark we are with the click-through in comparison to like just the increase?
yeah,
Like,
there
has
is.
the numbers kind of gone up together, or is it?
They have, yeah. There is a direct correlation with that because we've been strategic about having those clickable booking rates with every campaign instead of just a visual aspect on some of them. Like, so trying to create that click-through rate.
Yeah, the
for
ability for
everything.
them to.
We're trying to make a synergy with that to get those results on the investment.
So you're seeing the click-through rate go up faster than you're seeing the impressions? then?
No, we're seeing them as a correlation on the
They are
same wavelength. Yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to
Numbers?
just
Yeah.
thank Adam for coming up presenting
Yeah,
to us.
no
I
problem.
know you're filling as the interim executive director, and it's always fun to do that when they're letting you do your original job as well. So
Yeah.
thanks for making the time. to
Yeah,
come and
no,
talk
I
to us.
appreciate it. And anytime, like I said, reach out to me. I'm happy to chat.
Thanks very much for coming
And
out.
I'll leave some business cards. Oh, they're in the car. I'll leave them at
You
the
know what,
front desk.
get them to me tomorrow. Oh, no, I won't. I'm online tomorrow. Okay, I'll get them from you.
Yeah, I'll leave some up front. here if
Okay.
that works.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, our next delegation is Blue Water Power. I'm going to ask Chief Executive Officer Janice McMichael Dennis to come to the bar.
I'll move that.
Counselor Mondu, Counselor Doctor, thank you.
Sorry, I got a bit ahead of myself.
Well, you were so eager.
I was.
Yeah.
Eager young lady. Keyword being young,
Oh, yeah,
not
oh,
really,
yeah.
but thank you. It is an honor to be before you today, Mayor Hand and Deputy Mayor Grimes and Council and my wonderful friend Jim and all the awesome people from the Point Edward teams. So it's really nice to be here. My role here today is to present a brief update on the Blue Water Power success story, a brief update on recent operations. I'm very pleased that my Vice Chair of the Board, Margaret Dragon, has joined me here this evening, and pleased to have her. Brad Goodhill sends his regrets. He is doing some, I believe it's municipal fire interviews tonight. So he is tied up, but he would have loved to be here. So in the next 10 minutes, I will take you through just a few things to highlight the year in review. And in providing that opportunity for us to tell our story, we'll talk about the 2025 numbers. We'll translate that into some of our successful stories. We'll look at Blue Water Power as active at the provincial level. And then I'll close off with the board of directors and a quick closing summary. With that, let's start with the 2025 numbers, because of course, measurable results are absolutely key to what we do. Without that, it becomes just words. So Before talking about the typical financial numbers, the very most important number of anything Blue Water Power does is the number of hours worked without a lost time injury. We are up to 2.7 million hours worked, which is just over a decade without a lost time injury. This is really the achievement that I am most proud of and that our company is most proud of. Our number one care is our people. We value our people. We have their backs, and there's nothing more important than that number right there. And one that I'm pleased to say is a very good accomplishment, but only to be repeated in the future. The nice thing is sometimes once safety is your foundation, the other operational results will often fall into place when you have an exceptional team like I am fortunate to have. Let's talk about a couple other 2025 numbers. We had power reliability of 99.98%, gross revenue in excess of 160 million. Our income for 2025 represented an all-time historic high, and plus we had growth in assets of approximately 8%. These results, I'm just simply honored to be able to provide them, but they are 100% due to the people behind the scenes and the boots on the ground and everybody who supports Blue Water Power. A couple other numbers just to hit the highlights. Pleased to say our expenses came in below budget. We reinvested $12 million into direct local hard assets, local infrastructure. We had our highest municipal returns of all time. I'm pleased to return our shareholders some real, genuine local value from their municipal utility and group of companies. And of course, Point Edward being our favorite share. Oh, no. Jimmy. Point Edward being a very important shareholder to us. I never talk about municipal returns though, without talking about customer impact, because we will never generate profit at the expense of hydro bills. And we are very much committed to the notion of just and reasonable rates. We live here, we work here, we interact with our community, and we are successful when we can return money to our community while also managing hydro bills. If we move on, no, I'm sorry, that number for, sorry about that, Jim. The number that will, you know what, I'll talk about it in a bit later because I have a nice graph that I'll tie in rates into. Further to the overall success story of Blue Water Power, playing off the 2025 years and the 2025 year and the 24 other years that came before it, our net income has significantly grown. We've added offices outside of Sarnia-Lambton, and that's important because we can take municipal money, we can take community money from outside our community and bring in here home locally to the benefit of our municipal owners. Over the last decade, we've reinvested over $100 million, again, in local hard assets to make sure that the lights are on. I'm always very proud to say that Blue Water Power is a strong community partner. We want to be the people that provide cookies at Canada Day. We want to be the people who have the name on the back of hockey jerseys. It's really important to us that people see us as a community partner, and that's something that myself and the board takes very great sense of pride in. Also pleased to say that over the last year, we've added actually 2 new companies to our group of companies. We recognized right up front, as I mentioned, that getting rich off of hydro bills was an absolute non-starter, and we took the affiliate company road, wanted the second one in the province of Ontario to take such a road, and we've added companies over the year in order to diversify our revenue, to be able to grow our returns to our shareholders while still maintaining hydro rates as one of our core companies there in our group of companies. If we flip to the next slide, Jim. That the success story now includes the following companies: Blue Water Power Distribution, that's who you think of, that's your utility; Blue Water Power Renewable, Blue Water Power Services, Electech Power; the Power Share Organization, Blue Water Regional Networks, which Point Edward has always been a very big supporter of, and I'm grateful for that; and one of our newest companies, Utility OS, which is a utility software-driven company. The result of our expansion and our corporate structure is the next slide, which shows total community returns directly to municipalities of over $70 million. That doesn't include the local infrastructure impact. It does not include any type of economic impact. It doesn't include any type of municipal community involvement. It is straight hard annual checks in terms of your interest and your dividends. We're very pleased to say that one of the most important jobs for us is to ensure that our municipalities have value in their local market here, have value in their locally owned companies. I'm proud to say that $70 million is some really real value delivered here locally by people that you know and trust. The next slide shows that decade of the last bill, of the local bill. And this is where I always take the time to stress, as I did earlier, that we do not do community returns at the expense of ratepayer bills. In 2016, the average Blue Water Power residential bill was $134. 10 years later, that bill has actually gone down. It is now $129. If we would have taken 2016 and simply adjusted by inflation, we all know the inflationary impacts that you, the municipality, has, that Blue Water Power has. If we would have adjusted by inflation, that bill would have went up by approximately 25% over the last 10 years. But instead, we have gone down by 4% decrease over a 10-year period. And this really matters to us. It matters to us because customers matter to us. And we pride ourselves on being customer responsive, customer compassionate, and really focused on delivering exceptional customer and municipal value. Pleased to say that Blue Water Power is represented well at the provincial level. It was always a distinct moment of pride to be able to say that I was elected chair of the board for the electrical utilities in the province of Ontario. And I have 2 vice presidents who are currently in roles such as that with Ontario as well, and many teammates who sit on committees and governing bodies, including Electricity Canada and various organizations that represent right across the country. The nice part about this is that we have the opportunity to take the Sarnia, Lambton, Point Edward voice to the GTA, to the energy minister directly, to those tables down in downtown Toronto, where energy decisions are being made at a provincial level, and very pleased to be able to do that. If I move on now to our board of directors, quite frankly, nothing happens. None of this success happens without an exceptional governance structure. I certainly would be absolutely unable to do my job without the support of a excellent board of directors. So as part of this process where we provide you with our annual update, we also, the board considers, and then Blue Water Power recommends the reappointment as necessary of our board of directors. And again, I can't stress how key to our success they have been. Anybody who reports to a board or reports to council knows how important it is to have a wise, supportive body who hold your feet to the fire, but also take the time to truly care. And pleased to have that. I'm proud to say that Gary McDonald continues as our chair of the board, and the lovely Margaret Dragon as the vice chair of the board. And our directors include Sandy Marshall, Dr. Catherine Albion, Doug Solomon, and of course the wonderful Brad Goodhill, who represents the interest of Point Edward on the board and always does an absolutely superior job. We are recommended as part of our package here this evening, as part of our delegation request, that the village consider the reappointment of Mr. Goodhill to our board of directors. And I would be most fortunate and indebted to you if you would so consider that. In closing, let me just wrap up and touch upon the highlights just to leave you with the overall picture. First of all, in 2025, we were safe, and that is first, second, and third and fourth. Safety came first, and pleased to say the financial returns followed in line. We had all-time financial highs. I was very pleased to spend time with you last year and say that 2024 had been a record-breaking year. And I'm even more pleased to say that 2025 actually broke the 2024 records. And we pleased, due to the exceptional team, came in with yet another all-time high. And again, not at the expense of hydro bills. We never do anything on the backs of utility ratepayers. We exceeded all targets of profitability. We grew our assets. We made some difference down in downtown Toronto. We had very high customer satisfaction ratings, which always make me smile, because quite often people think of you only when they open their hydro bill, but we actually had customer satisfaction ratings around the 90% level, which is a real testament to the people who work at Blue Water Power, the boots on the ground who make impressions with the public every single day. We had outstanding utility operations. We are often the go-to utility where people go to when they need additional storm response or help. And overall, we were pleased to support our community. And we're always proud to say we help make things happen. And locally, it is very important to us for us to show that local participation and to show the local value and to be a part of what you do here in Point Edward and a part of what's done right across the Blue Water Power communities. So with that, I remain deeply grateful to the village for your constant support over the years and for always having faith in us. And we promise you that we will never let you down. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll open it up to questions and then maybe we can look for a motion
Sure. Thank you, Mayor.
regarding Brad's reappointment.
Thank you, Mayor. Van.
Okay, questions?
If I may?
Yep.
First of all, thanks to Blue Water Power for your commitment to safety, shareholders and the community, right? I have personal experience with that, and we do appreciate how committed you are to so many community events and that. First Monday had a quote where you said Blue Water Power is going to get into the residential internet. Can you enlighten us on that? Because that, in my experience, it's very capital intensive and.
You're absolutely right, Deputy Mayor Grimes. My quote was that I would hope within the next time frame, but good friend Chris may have heard that slightly differently, which is fair. So what I had said was that my desire is to get into that residential market with the caveat that we have to make the numbers work, because you're exactly right, Greg. It is a capital intensive business, and we only make prudent decisions with shareholder community money, right? So we have to have a business case, we have to show community value, but we also have to show a sustainable financial model, right? You'll be very quick not to see good numbers if you make imprudent business decisions. So we are continuously looking at that model, Deputy Mayor Grimes. We are now looking at even working with others to see how we could, without making the capital investment, we could piggyback maybe on some assets. We could jump on with some partners who maybe have more of a presence, or some other people who provide internet services. That's what we're looking at now, to see if we can attack the hill to climb, which you're absolutely right, is that capital investment, and still be able to provide a Blue Water Power service with that local stamp on it. And one that we would only provide if we could do it right and make sure that the Blue Water Power name was respected and our customers were respected. But that is what I had intended to communicate there. I do really truly hope that we will be in the residential market one day, but I would never, and the board would never allow me to make that decision without strong financial backing.
So just follow up with that. So you're aware of some of the up and coming local internet providers that are out there already, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That is correct. We have a good working relationship with them. Chris Gould, who manages our fiber business, meets with them frequently. I noticed a meeting request just before I came in today, just coincidentally. But yes, we are aware, and our intent is never to usurp a local business. Our intent is always to be a partner to try to help the community. But yes, that's a fair
You're
statement.
true local too, versus a conglomerate with local.
Absolutely. If we can't do it right, Greg, we're not going to do it, because we have worked too hard to get the Blue Water Power respect and trust and brand
Yep.
to partner with someone who we can't trust represents the best of who we are. I'd rather not do it than ever try to sacrifice that.
If you can get internet reliability up with the power, then you got.
Yes, you are correct. I agree completely.
Thank you, Janice.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I just want to make a statement on the safety. Coming from industry, seeing that number, it's unbelievable. Because I know how hard it is to run an operation safely. You've got so many variables, and to provide return to us as shareholders. Like, just applaud for this. This is phenomenal. Last year you blew me away with that number. Now this year again, like, because I know safety is critical, and it's for, it's nice to hear you do it. It's first,
Yes.
right? Because a lot of companies don't look that way. They look at the bottom line first. Thank you.
You're absolutely right, Tim, and thank you for that. We've always recognized that and I appreciate it. It's very, very important to us, so thank you.
Any other questions? Now I look for a motion to confirm the reappointment of Brad Goodhead.
I can move that.
Okay,
No, second.
okay, we'll go to this side of the table.
I think the actual,
Oh,
Jen put a motion in there.
sorry,
to adopt-
there,
oh,
okay.
the council endorsed the resolutions contained within the documents circulated by Blue Water Power. So there's appointing Bev and I as the municipal representatives, that's appointing Brad as, so, yeah.
So I'll move that.
Okay.
Motion.
And Council Burgess seconded, all in favor? Okay,
Excellent. Thank you
Our
very
work
much.
is
And
done.
again, thank you for
Thank
your
you.
support and we're supposed to share your phone, anybody at any time. So thank you.
thanks so
Great
much and
years.
appreciate Mark you coming as well. Thank you.
Anita had a better offer.
Yes. Yes, I think she was going to the dentist. Thank you. Nice to see everybody. Thank you. so
Thank you.
much.
Thanks, Janice.
Sure. Just take a second. She must leave for a minute. This is it. Sorry. I got something. So we'll move on to number 7, which is adoption of the minutes. And that would be for the council minutes of April the 28th.
I can move that.
Okay,
One of us.
okay. Think there's any business arising from the minutes? We go on to financial reports. First one is general operations for April.
I'll move that the total revenues in general operations for the month of April 2026 in the amount of $184,503.60. Oh, it's up there. Disappeared on me again.
Be
Be
approved.
approved, and that the total expenditures in general operations for the month of April 2026 in the amount of $471,797.24 be approved.
I can second that.
All in favor? Okay. Move on to environmental services, April.
I'll move that the total revenues in environmental services for the month of April 2026 in the amount of $14.25 be approved. And that the total expenditures in environmental services for the month of April 2026 in the amount of $222,374.70 be approved. And that updated financial statements for the month of March 2026 showing revenues of $164,347.57 and expenditures of $197,366.72 be received and filed.
Council Doctor,
I did the motion.
yes, so you moved it, you're seconded. All in favor? Okay. We'll move on to committee reports, operations, from May the 12th.
I'll move that the operations committee meeting minutes of May the 12th, 2026 be adopted as circulated.
I can second that.
Highlights were transitioning from a heavy winter of public works and removing the ice at the arena and transitioning into the summering of the village.
Okay,
I noticed in item 9, I think it was, there was reference to bringing a matter forward to the police, the detachment board about behavior at the arena. We're not waiting for that meeting to, this got dealt with,
Already
right?
dealt with.
Because
It's on the agenda anyway, but it's already been dealt with.
Because it probably should be not part of the board, because it's sort of directing, but we'll mention it to them.
Yep.
It got addressed with you.
Yeah, it's been-
immediately. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, got a positive response back from them. So
Okay,
Just so for anybody that's not knowing what we're talking about, it was to cover the additional crowds at the lacrosse games. Right, there's 600, I think, was there the other night. So it's just to maintain that there's good behavior going on with that many people.
600 paid. I'm sure-
600 paid,
I
right?
think there's a few more people in the building
Yeah.
that night. That was a
We're
good crowd.
nearing our max.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor? Move on to fire. For May the 12th.
I'll move that the minutes of the fire committee meeting held May 12th, 2026 be approved and circulated. We talked about a handful of things, however, one thing that some may have opinions on that they would like to share would be the idea of updating the appearance of the fire hall building. So if anyone would like to, put in some 2 cents on that one, please hesitate to let us know. In terms of I'm not sure if you want to update on where we're.
not, no.
Thank you.
So seconder,
I do that.
oh, sorry, all in favor? Okay, move on to environmental services.
I'll move that the minutes of the Environmental Services Committee meeting held May 12th, 2026 be approved as circulated. I've just got one highlight out of this, and it's the manager of environmental services requested that the treasurer provide a financial report monthly so we can find out the funds carried over from 2025, so we can track those balances, and that request was made as a priority. That was the highlight. Thank you.
All in favor? Next one, finance.
I will move that the minutes of the Finance Committee meeting held May 12th, 2026 be approved as circulated.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councilor
Thank you.
Burgess.
As far as highlights. Sometimes it's hard to find highlights in finance and admin, but we're working on it. And that way, there we go. The one I was going to bring up was we are still actively planning for the 150th. We do have a planning committee that's being brought together, and we'll be looking at ideas. And that was the highlight, yes.
That one?
Yep.
Okay. All in favor? Miscellaneous reports, building permit,
Move to receive and file.
seconded,
Oh, go ahead.
Got it.
okay. All in favor? Thank you. Communications receive and file 1 through, I think 1 through 5. Do the other 2 separately?
Sure. I'll do that. 1, 2,
Okay.
5.
Seconded, thank you. All in favor? Number 6.
I'll move number 6, which is the management review meetings for environmental services for the Point Edward Water Distribution System. And the meetings were held on September 4th and 24th of 2025.
Seconded. Any questions? All in favor? And number 7, the St. Clair Regional Conservation Authority Board meeting of April.
I'll move that the highlights be received and filed.
I can second that.
Seconded by Councilor Burgess.
Thank you. And just a quick highlight, this year, the Maple Syrup Festival at the A.W. Campbell was one of the most successful we've had. We partnered with Brook Alvinston firefighters to better tie into their annual pancake. So the people picked up their bus, got on the bus to go to the festival at the pancake breakfast. So they found that participation in the breakfast was much higher. It was one of the most successful years. And not in these highlights. I don't know if it's a highlight yet, but I've been appointed as the to the transition board that will oversee the transition of St. Clair Region Conservation into the Regional Conservation Authority. It was felt that being a victim of several hostile takeovers at my days in cable industry, and being part of strategic mergers, that I could bring some insight into that, so.
Second. Counselor Mondu, any other questions? All in favor? Okay, and congratulations on that appointment.
Thank you. See where
Um,
that's up.
So we'll move on to new business. Counselor Mondu has conflict of interest, so he's leaving the room.
I'll sit and I can answer any questions if needed.
Okay.
So
Deputy Mayor Grimes,
I'll move that the exemption be granted.
I'll second.
all in favor? There you go.
You?
Guess we don't really need to say what it is, or
What's that?
you can read it online. People
Yeah.
don't know what it was about.
Okay.
You can read it online.
We may want to just.
Yeah, so, because I just think people should know. So the request was made to heighten their fence because they live beside the St. Clair, or sorry, Point Edward Learning Center, Early Learning Center. And there's some machine, like some machinery in there that they.
Air conditioners,
Yeah, and it's a lot of different
garbage
noise.
trucks.
So they've got an exemption to go to 8 feet between the side of the driveway and their home.
That's only for the backyard,
Yeah,
not the whole length
Yeah.
of the lot.
yeah,
Thank you.
okay.
Till later.
Number 2. Council Burgess has a conflict on this one. That he has addressed, and it's about a request from the city of Sarnia to close Alfred Street for the Canada Day Parade. So the organizers of Sarnia Canada Day Parade have sought permission to close Alfred Street for the period of time on July 1st. What did you say? Was it from 9?
7.
From 7 to 1, right?
Yes.
Possibly 2, it says, yeah.
Okay. So part of what precipitated this is, and I just know this from being in the parade, but they used to drop, the parade would stop before, like around the playground area. When you're coming out of the park, you know, that playground there, and let people off. And last year, they changed it so that they went all the way through the park and were dropping people on Alfred Street. So they feel like there was a lot of congestion and traffic with all the parked cars and people coming and going, so that's why they're asking to close the road.
I have a question on this.
Councilman
Is this
Monday.
also going to Sunday Council? Because that part of Alfred or is Sandy
know.
Lane? So that will impact that as well, right?
Well, I'm sure they,
Yeah, I don't
sure
know
they-
what their
yeah,
process is
yeah.
in the city. I'm just sure.
Sure, it's more of an internal thing that they can just do with the city.
yeah, I think because
they're different municipalities.
it's the parade committee
Okay.
would have had control over
Sure.
it, I'm sure, and said
With their parade permit, probably.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, any comments?
If I may.
Sure,
So I reached out to the person that made the request, and my biggest concern here is emergency response and local resident access on that street and what they would do about that. Cause I mean, I hear lots of anecdotal evidence of ambulance and fire responding to specifically to Sandy Lane Apartments on a daily basis. So if that road's closed for 6 hours, you know, what are we gonna do? What's the plan if there is emergency vehicles responding? So their plan is to maintain 1 lane of traffic at all times. And then they say they'll work with the OPP and Sarnia Police Services to permit resident access as well. So that was their response, is that they will work with us to make sure that if emergency services is required down there, they can get there. And then if our residents need to come and go during that period of time, they'd work with them as well.
What would that look like
Yeah.
for those residents?
Yeah.
Just, I mean, that's quite a lengthy period of time, especially if it starts early in the morning.
Mhm.
For them to get in and out of their home to celebrate Canada Day.
Right.
They may not be parade goers, they may
Mhm.
have other. Just a thought.
I can just
Yeah.
allude, like, I assume they'll have auxiliary constables or paid duty officers at the street closure. And if you pull up and say, I live at 123 Alfred Street, they'll just wave you through, right? There won't be any, I don't think there'll be any problem. And if you're leaving, you just back out of your driveway and off you go. So I don't see that. The access back in or out would be an issue.
I think it's, you know, I think it's something that we want to know exactly so that we can send a letter out to those
Yeah, we have to know.
residents and say, you know, please be aware that the road is going to be officially closed for that period of time, but if you need to come and go, you're able to do so. Like, once they've firmed up their plan, I think we need to communicate that to the residents in the area if we're gonna permit it.
I just have a question regarding the signage. Will the city of Sarnia install the barricades and signage, or is that something we will be on the look for?
I don't know.
To me, it should be them.
Yeah, I would think it's gonna be them, but they
They're
haven't
asking
asked
for
us.
it, they can do it.
They haven't asked us to do anything, so
Yeah,
Um,
oh, for sure, but I don't think we should do that work.
And I think I would like to just have the motion granted for this year, a 1 year closure, not 1 year, 1 day.
Right.
but,
right.
that they need to reapply next year so that and we'll reevaluate it based on feedback and the experience, just to make, before we commit to doing this on a regular basis. So when we communicate back, tell them that they would be responsible for the signage and provided it's not a problem with our union. Well, they talk about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause the other thing, it takes a whole street of parking out
Yes,
of people going to the park, cause that,
Gonna say, it may create.
it's gonna create
some
chaos elsewhere.
Other issues, because Canada Day on that side of villages, chaotic.
Mhm.
It's true.
The duration of the closure seems a bit extreme.
well, that's it. I thought too.
The parade ends at a certain time, why they want it from 7 a.m. till.
They don't want any street parking
It's exactly, it.
Yeah,
They don't
want
want.
the cars to come in and then get parked.
and then try to leave after the parade or
At
what.
least there needs to be some good communication between all of the services, because EMS is trying to access.
Yeah.
That area was closed, then they can only go certain ways on Victoria.
Mhm.
Ernest, you know.
Well, they can't come through the park.
can't
An
get
emergency.
parked in.
So they have to.
There was a significant number of people that live in Sangerville, so I'm sure certainly gonna address that, but. 'Cause they're there.
Yeah.
Between the three services.
And like I said, last year they extended it out to Alfred Street without a closure, but they said they had some issues, so I guess a 1 year trial and see how it goes.
I wonder if we could look at having no parking in that section, but have the road open for people to travel through, but just put up no parking signs all the way along there.
How would they turn around if they kept going and then couldn't go through the park?
And you don't want them to come down towards Sandy Lane because that's where the congestion is.
Right,
When the
Like, that
floats
is a
come
really
out.
good
right,
idea,
yeah,
Yeah,
aside from. that.
yeah,
but then just close it when the parade, like, so the parade doesn't get there till 12:45 or something. So have no parking on Alfred till 1 o'clock. And then have the OPP close the road as the parade is approaching that roundabout, right? They have fancy two-way radios and then let the floats do their thing and then reopen it.
What
I
did they
agree
do?
with Rick, it seems like a long time.
What do they do in the park? Like, when do they close that road for the parade? Driving through the.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would be
know.
curious to hear about that, because that sounds like kind of the same thing. And
Yeah.
there's no way that they close the park right first thing in the morning.
No.
People are still.
I know it's
through there.
closed at 10, but I don't know.
Because there's
first
always
thing.
people.
What time is the parade, 11?
I think it's 11 it starts.
Yeah, 11.
Yeah, it marches off and they
Yeah.
usually gets into the park around noonish.
Yeah.
So
We
that would
finish
get
up around 12:30, then they do the ceremony at the band shell at 1. Or I think it was 1. Anyway, I think we should, I would grant it for a 1 year trial. And see what the impact is.
On the condition that we're not paying for anything, and that there's something else that you said. Do
They
we-
manage
does it-
the closure.
Yeah, that they're.
They pay for the signage.
Yeah.
And that we review it. Yeah. And I think also too, I don't know if it's gonna be OPP paid duty costs related to the road closure. They may use auxiliaries, they may have a paid duty officer come in. So
I know they're hoping to get volunteers to, like, to man the intersections. They're hoping to get volunteers.
who are the candidates?
The committee, yeah.
So
So,
just be aware though that volunteers have no authority under the
Right.
HTA to direct traffic and they're highly liable, so as long as they're aware of that. Anyway, so. Hold on.
well, let's, basically, I think what would be appropriate would be a motion to permit staff to negotiate or work with the organizers to try to find the best possible workable solution. And we've got your ideas for what, like if you're willing to give it a 1 year try, then leave it to the staff people to work with them, you know, taking all of your thoughts into consideration.
Okay,
So that's what I would recommend.
I can move that.
Okay.
okay, second, and Councilor Nocturne. All in favor?
I think you make notes, I saw, but just the priority being that minimal impact and guaranteed access
Yeah.
and no cost to the village.
Yeah.
You can have your lemonade stand after all.
Next one is the OPP detachment facility improvements. There's a report attached regarding upgrades. Do you want Mike to come up?
If there's any questions.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The report was prepared by our operations manager, Mike, so if anybody has any questions. Deputy Mayor Grimes.
Thanks, Mike, for the report. Appreciate it. And it's nice to see we're gonna try and internalize a lot of the work. And I guess it was a mistake on my, I thought the 5,000 was added, but I guess it wasn't. So, because with the vision I had for the building was the space between the main entrance and the door, the garage door, and then the same sort of space on the other side. There's a natural indent that could have a block wall and a hedge or plants or gardens. That's what I'm sort of envisioning as part of that 5,000 was to create some greenery on that wall or something like that. So that's what I was, and I know we can't do it internally because just material and labor and expertise. So what I was going to ask here was, I saw earlier the fire department's having a problem spending money for the front of their building. And wonder if some money could be transferred from that to this building, be a good neighbor.
Well, what do we get in return?
But, or we just come up with a landscaping plan for next year and put it in the budget properly is the other options.
Certainly, yeah, through the mayor, we can definitely do that. One of the reasons the initial hedges were pulled out from when I did some history research on it was that was the height was obstructing some of the windows and such. So we could look at some lower growing plants to be able to beautify that area on both sides. Absolutely. Yep.
And should we not be fixing this sprinkler system just to?
It's
or
from
is it
what,
that bad?
from what I understand, it was in some poor condition prior to the construction, and then during the construction, a number of the heads and some of the piping was pulled out to a point where it would have to be a completely new install. It hadn't been operating in a number of years at that point, so we could, again, we could certainly look at it.
I think for next year's budget, we could budget for some of that wall and low stuff and then proper sprinkler to maintain that. If we're gonna put landscaping, we have to maintain it with water,
Agreed.
right? So.
Any other questions? Dr. Mondu?
I have a question regarding the parking issues. Like, they used to have a spot designated on Michigan Ave, or, and with the construction, well, just before construction, we had that taken away. And then now it's a smaller spot, so they can't put a car there even, unless they're gonna get a lot smaller car. Are they gonna, is it moving it one space down on the other side of their parking lot? Like, I was down there today looking at it and I'm just kind of not sure.
No, again, through the mayor, I did walk with the sergeant to identify a number of the aspects. This was one, this is directly on Michigan at the corner. There is enough space for a cruiser to pull up. Yes, it's tight, but you can put that in there. We can hatch it off internally. We can paint it as well as we can get some signage specifically indicating that is for.
Well, there were,
constructing
yeah,
only.
that was the
Yeah,
spot
we used to
designated
have, we used to have a
before.
sign there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Then the 3 additional spots. Can you shed some light on that?
This, again, thank you through the mayor. This was new to me. I didn't understand, this was something prior to me coming on
I
board.
don't,
They were looking at 3 diagonal spots that would exit onto St. Clair along the east side of the wall, and hoping that they could be able to pull up 3 cruisers and then be able to access out onto the road. From what I understand, this was brought up initially to the engineering firm. One of the challenges that was brought forward when I mentioned this to the current engineer that we're using is that the egress back onto the road, where the bump out is, and even previous to that, was too close to the corner. Again, there's no specific hard and fast regulations, just in terms of standardization, that would have just been a little too close for that. In retrospect, he's looked at a potential option we could look at. I just haven't had a chance to meet with him to discuss it as yet.
because on St. Clair, they used to have, I think, 3 spots, and we took one away with the bulb out.
Mhm.
I think they have 2 now, or there's a hash part that they always park on
Mhm.
anyways.
Mhm. Right.
Anyways, okay, and grinding down the curbs, is that part of that as well?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
that was the, again, thank you. We were looking at right outside of the entryway into their roll-up door.
Yeah.
There is a curbway, so we're
Yeah.
gonna grind that down to level and make sure it's rounded on both sides, so it's no trip hazard. As well, I'll look at, I just want to make sure that we can identify that the curb on the would be the south side of that is within their property lines, so that we can grind the curb. Otherwise, we'll have a conversation with the resident aside and confirm that there's no issues with it. I guess at some points when they're pulling out, that curb is high enough to damage the bottom of the vehicles, so.
So are we talking the curb in front of the Sally Port or the garage door? Or
That's the first curb I mentioned. The other one is further to the south, which is the extent of their parking lot.
and why do they want that ground down?
What happens is they diagonally park on that, and it has, on the passenger side, if they pull out, they have hit the vehicle on that curb. It is probably about.
Is the curb at the road?
No, no,
Oh, the
no,
curb.
it delineates the driveway for the local resident to the south.
Oh,
and-
that one, okay.
Yes,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes.
And then following what Councilor Mondi said, I think what they wanted to do is they wanted to pave the front yard and make it 3 parking spots.
Correct.
And cars just pull out right on the same thing across the
Oh,
sidewalk. So that was that, and they pitched that and it got shot down by the engineer. So it would have been, the
Okay,
area I just asked if we could spend 5,000 to landscape,
Yeah.
would have been.
okay, because for the life of me, I couldn't get it, couldn't
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
Okay,
And as far as the parking spot on Michigan, the reason we took it away was because there was no bulb out and they were blocking pedestrians trying to cross.
Mhm.
Now the pedestrians can actually get out to the line. I have no problem with putting
Yeah.
it back personally, but
and it was a visual issue as
yeah,
well, right?
because
So
people were standing on the
corner-
curb, the car was
Well, even the
here.
drivers
Yeah,
at the intersection, because
yeah, but now pedestrians are actually out at the roadway, so their cruiser would not block them, so.
That's correct.
And it's just, I spoke to John Fairburn and I just said, we just have to make sure we put the proper signage up so that some of the social media sites don't start.
Right. I also met with John in regards to.
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. Thank you. My questions.
Sorry, Jay?
Has anyone looked at, just confirm line of sight?
Mhm.
Because if they park one of the larger
Yeah.
SUVs there, it could be
Yeah, that's
harder for people to see traffic coming from the west.
Yeah, like a big Tahoe or whatever, yeah,
Just-
Which they are.
yeah.
They have, well,
Yeah.
that was the issue before.
And
That's why we
what I
had that
thought.
parking spot taken away.
It was the tall truck.
It was the
And I
video.
guess the question is, Jim has made arrangements for them to park their personal cars or other cars at the church.
Mhm.
Do we need to give this on-street parking when we just spent how many hundreds of thousands of dollars on road safety and pedestrian safety? And then to put a cruiser there seems to be like we're taking a step backwards personally.
They don't park at the church.
Yeah, I know that.
But
I've seen one officer park there for a couple hours. and that
this
was
is
it.
the Presbyterian church.
All the Presbyterian. church.
And I talked to Mike and said, that parking lot is open all day long, and I know, I speak for my congregation, I'm sure that they would agree to that, but they don't want to park in behind.
Well, I know they don't park in the Anglican church parking lot.
I have never spoken to the Presbyterian Church about parking
No,
there.
I know that. I
Okay.
offered it up as a
Okay.
solution
I see. Okay.
because it sits there empty all day. And the other one at the Anglican church is used all day. Because people are coming and going to Brand Hall, they're going to the fire hall. But behind the Presbyterian is a whole parking lot that's empty all day. So I
Just.
Yeah, no, we talked about, that was an option, and they don't like the fact that it's in behind. So, we'll see.
Well, just on that, last fall, I brought up about putting municipal parking lot in behind the fire hall to allow volunteers. The library's never had parking for the library as well as the police. And, you know, I sent a few notes out and that died. But, you know, we don't have any parking in that busiest intersection in Point Edward, basically. Everything's on street, so. And
Just
we-
to return that, even when we expanded the fire hall, we had a lot of pushback about encroaching on the park. So I know that was my thing, that park that's behind the fire hall, to take some of that away for parking. Just when we expanded the back of the fire hall, there was quite a
It
big
was-
fight
there
from
was-
the community about
Yeah.
taking away a few meters of the park.
So do we need to provide direction? It says receive and file, but I think we've decided no changes to police parking. We agree with the curb reduction, right? And then Mike's gonna develop a plan
Yeah,
and bring it forward to the next budget for the landscaping.
I think it doesn't need to be motion. Directions there.
Direction given.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. You might want to just stay
Aye.
there
Hang around.
for the next item. Okay, so the next one is this, St. Clair Street parking lot update.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to circle back to this. I know a couple council meetings ago, we had discussed it. Further to that, I took back the information that was brought forward to that, spoke to an engineer. Again, identified 22 spot spaces or 22 space parking lot that's for supporting local businesses, operates free, no parking model. There was also, just to make sure that we're managing liabilities, AODA, we're gonna make sure that we design for public standard spaces and then have the approximate spacing for each individual vehicle to make sure that we can do the best we can. Further to that, with the council's feedback, we did look at a high level cost analysis, which it did include the installation of a charging station. Preliminary costs were about $155,000, with the feasibility of proceeding with the project. The engineer had identified a couple other aspects that we can't nail down in terms of costing, but it was something we should look at. One was the consultation with a qualified traffic engineer, just to make sure that the proposed entryway into that lot on the curve, we do have a number of specific entries onto that curve as it is right now. He just wants to make sure that there's nothing that would be contravening any particular details. As well as the aspect of a required archaeological study that we do see that in the village. We have a number of projects that are underway right now that are deeply into that. So that was something else, as well as just some more geotechnical analysis that wasn't as much of an issue. He just wanted to confirm that there was details as well. That's where the soil study comes in, just to confirm that there was no other contaminated soils that we found. There was identified contaminated soils during the St. Clair project very near to that location. So again, it was just a due diligence for us to be able to make sure that we did that as well. He said there was a potential aspect for an environmental impact study, as was mentioned, that St. Clair Street did initially come directly through that space or prior to the curve. It was just more of to confirm that everything would be okay if we did look along that lines. With him understanding that, and that's why I put a photo of the map up again, just to identify the location. He wasn't able to give us firm costs on that, but he said he would estimate anywhere between $50,000 and $80,000 in terms of initial budget. It's a conservative budget. We have to, it would be the consideration of the archaeological study. That would be the big one. We don't know what we would get into or what the phasing that they would require us to be able to do that. I know local areas around that area have gone to more of a stage 2 on it, but again, neighboring neighboring projects have gone to stage 4. So we just want to make sure whatever we find there, we have enough contingency for that type of thing. We do have a neighboring business has contacted us to help us in terms of supporting the construction of the project, as well as in that we're having further discussions to look at some charging stations and help us identify what we could do to support that further. So
So Jordy came tonight
yeah.
because he has submitted some information about the
Yes.
charging station.
That's
He said
correct.
he talked to you.
I put that forward to the
Yeah.
engineer. We're just waiting to see what that looks like. That the costing was very, very similar to what we had. So
And just as a reminder, the cost of this is being borne by the project,
that was the
the St.
suggestion.
Clair Street project.
That was the
We're
suggestion.
gonna build it into
from the
that,
last.
just for anybody that's listening. Any questions?
I have
Counselor Burgess?
a question. Did you have access to the traffic study we had done before we did all our construction projects?
Through the mayor, yes, I did. Yeah, the paradigm study, I have read through that. There was nothing that specifically identified that corner in terms of any new entryways. It did identify the traffic flows and such, but there was nothing that specifically about that. It was just something that was, when I brought that to the attention of the engineer we're using right now, they said it would maybe be in your best interest to look at that specifically, just because it is a new entryway and egress back onto the street with already a busy roadway and a number of entries right in that vicinity.
So I looked at it again. I still have it on my iPad,
Mhm.
and my concern is more about pedestrian traffic. If somebody's parking there, where do they cross the road?
Through the study, you would have to go down to the crosswalk that was created down closer to the brewery and come back across the way in terms of that. Otherwise, it would just be transiting across the St. Clair Street. The engineer suggested not to put anything on a curb. It's just a blind curve is very difficult to be able to, especially being a municipal parking lot, there'd be a lot of liability with that.
Yeah, that's my concern, just traveling that route on a semi-regular basis. It's dicey coming in from Front Street with cars pulling out of parking lots, especially as you're coming around the curve. And I know the Paradigm had suggested not putting a crosswalk at Helena Street. Is that what you're talking about, having a crosswalk there at the corner of Helena?
No, sorry, again, through the mayor, the existing crosswalk that is on, it'd be further to the east along Light Street in front of the brewery. There is a crosswalk there that was identified.
That's Helena.
Oh, sorry, yes, sorry.
So it's not painted right now, but it will be.
It will be painted
with
once
final.
the top coat is on.
So
That's correct.
they put the ramp in after the fact,
On both.
Yeah.
so it's right there, and it'll be painted with the
That's right.
step ladder
hatches,
look.
yeah.
Okay, I just know the previous engineer had recommended against that because of
No, they-
where it was.
They were against lights and all that stuff, but as far as a pedestrian crossing with no control.
This, yeah, it'd be a PXOD, which would just be the signage.
Okay.
Indeed.
I've got a comment. We're gonna add another 200,000 to 300,000 to the project, right? If, we build this parking lot. So that's gonna be borne by the taxpayers. And, we're already up to our necks in controversy around the money spent already, and I can't justify any more money going into that construction project, especially for a parking lot. Jory, I respect you, but I understand like your parking issue, but I don't think the village should have to bear the cost of that. So that's where I'm coming from on this, and we're supposed to have a public consultation on this before we make a final decision, and good luck getting the people on board for that, because I don't see it happen. I think the debt's enough that we've got from there, so that's where I'm coming from. And some of the safety issues as well that Paul and I share. But anyways, my 2 cents.
I
Counselor
just want to
Russ?
clarify pricing because a rarity, but this came in lower than I had anticipated or that you had sort of projected in your initial planning. So 155 for curbs, pavement, drainage, lines, and some lighting. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And no pay to park systems.
That's correct.
And an extra 50 to 80 potentially for archaeological and other agencies, right?
So yes, again, through the mayor, that is the engineer's initial cost estimate. If it is that we go further with this, I would put it out to tender. And then we would get some tender pricing back, which would give us a firm cost of what this would look at.
Okay,
Thank you.
any other questions? Thank you for your report and thank you, Jordy, for sending this in.
So one thing that we kind of need to deal with, we've had both in the last report and this report recommendations from staff to hold public consultation before anything moves forward. So is that the wish of council to move forward with that, with us putting together some sort of public consultation process?
And how, would you recommend I don't think we need to do a full town hall cards, but could we do it as an online process, like a constant contact with the drawing and ask for people to email comments, or do it on our website as a form versus setting up? It's not that huge of a project. I don't think to warrant.
I don't think it needs to be a full public, like separate meeting.
Yeah.
I think that we should be advertising this issue. Like that, do it within a regular council meeting, but advertise that it's gonna be an issue that we're dealing with.
And can we ask for input prior to the meeting?
Yep.
And just
Yep.
get people's feedback. So, yeah, have the formal
Yep.
part of the meeting, but also leading up to it, say on this date, council will consider this and
Yeah, we absolutely can.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do we want to wait till Mike gets more information together, or is there a point in time that you want to do that?
So I could get further information, but I think the next step from my point of view would be to get the tender documentation ready from the engineer to be able to put that out, and then put that out to somebody to come back with some pricing. That would be the next phase for me to.
we wouldn't do that unless
Well,
there's
correct.
consensus.
That's right. Yeah. That would
So we're
just be-
pretty much at the point that
Okay.
a public meeting
Yeah,
would be,
okay, okay.
Could this be facilitated to the June meeting?
Yeah,
we may have an issue with the
Yeah,
June meeting. We'll
Let-
talk about
yeah,
after.
yeah, can't talk about that right now.
So let's just,
To be,
there will be,
TBD.
there does need to be direction, we're taking direction that we need to have a public consultation process. And we'll
determine.
discuss figure out how that's gonna
Yeah.
come together. And we will do it as quickly as we possibly can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Any other new business?
It's news ahead.
Pardon?
I wanted to know some news ahead of me. My question is, I'm sorry, Mike, it's back to you, but when we did the St. Clair Street project, what was her name? Lydia wanted trees everywhere, and we said that we would plant our own trees. I sort of like St. Clair without the trees. But I'm just wondering, are we planting trees? Are we not planting trees? Where are we at with that part of the project?
Thank you again. Through the mayor, there was reviewing the project documentation. There was nothing in terms of hard and fast where these trees were to be. I believe the previous engineer, the affinity to have a very vibrant treed lined road was something that she really enjoyed. And I think some of the challenges that we would run into specifically on the south side of the street on Light, we do have quite a few high powered lines that transit that space. Any trees down the road right now would not be an issue, but you get 10-15 years down the road, we could run into some challenges in terms of.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the boulevard's fairly narrow.
Correct.
Yeah.
So to be putting a tree that grows its trunk space would only harm curbs, sidewalks down the road. So,
Infrastructure of all types.
yeah,
Jason?
I think
from my memory and talking to the previous engineer, a lot of her plan was smaller trees when the path was gonna be two separate directionals.
Oh, right.
Space in the middle.
Yeah,
She had talked a lot about putting small trees in that green area in between. We didn't go that route, so.
and I think even back to Councilor Mondu said, from a budget perspective, I'm okay with not lining it with trees right now, and maybe wait and see down the road, but I just want to make sure we weren't
No.
going up to the roots to buy
No.
100 trees next week, because that was always talked about, was this vision of a tree canopy
Mhm.
over like a tunnel almost, so.
Yeah, no, there's no.
Okay,
Can I respectfully disagree?
yeah, you should.
Growing up on that street, it was always lined at this time of year full of pink crabapple flowers, and it was beautiful, and they were small. I walked that street my whole childhood, and I don't remember any upheaval of sidewalks, and it was all that same kind of little miniature or dwarf crabapple tree.
Yep.
And I just remember this time of year, it would be pink flowers all the way down St. Clair Street. And I liked it. I would like to speak in favor of replacing some of those trees, at least on the side that has houses. Because even some of them were still trying to grow after they were cut down. They kept coming back until they dug everything up.
And when I said dig it up, like, those small trees, yes, do make sense in that tight of an environment, like it.
Because, yeah, and the
The trunks
boulevards
are
have
big.
always been the same. And they were, like I said, they were all down the street on, if you're coming from Front Street on the right side of the road. They used to be on both sides of the road, but when the bridge tore down all the houses on that side, they took down all those boulevard trees as well.
So if I can clarify, are we looking, your suggestion is on the south side or on both sides to be able to do that, or is it?
His suggestion's the north side.
I'm sorry?
On the side that has
On the north
houses.
side. On the north.
Because
side.
to me,
Okay,
I'm
thank
looking
you.
east
Okay,
and
perfect.
west and
Thank
I'm
you.
standing
No,
on
that's.
the road on St. Clair Street.
yes.
So
Okay.
if we're gonna be doing a parking lot public consultation, can we do a St. Clair Street tree remediation consultation
It can be.
and ask
It's
some questions?
on both.
If I may,
Yeah.
through the mayor, I would like to look at the space for some of the boulevards. I do know that between the edge of the new sidewalks to the edge of the curbs is a very, very narrow location in certain areas. I would rather just, if I could
Mhm.
get that data first and then
Sure.
look at what that would look like in terms of growth for those type of trees.
No, and again, I want to lean to your expertise, because you have the infrastructure and everything else. I'm just saying, like,
Mhm.
it was always a beautiful drive along there, especially in the spring, and those little crabapple trees always bloomed
Okay.
all the way down the road, and it was nice driving in the pointed that way, heading to the arena or something like.
I will certainly look into that.
Great.
Just to comment on that, there's a lot of, well, not a lot, there's a few programs out there that you can acquire trees.
Yes.
Like it would at, discounted prices and stuff. And I think the Conservation Authority has a program. There's other programs. TD Bank used to have a program. So where you could put in and get so many trees to do, and that might be perfect to keep our costs down. Right? If we're gonna go ahead with this project or any other trees in the village that we're looking at. We don't need to bear the whole cost. There's opportunity out there to get discounts or whatever through these different programs, grants or whatever, so.
So we'll leave that with Mike to, you'll come back and give us a report.
Will do.
Okay,
Perfect. Thank you.
thank you. Any other new business? So the next is, community events and public announcements. So, this Friday is our first Vintage in the Village, the kickoff of the five nights. The last Friday of May through to the last Friday of September. From 4 till 8. So hope for the weather.
5 till 8.
5 till 8, sorry. 5 to 8. I thought the cars came in earlier.
They
Well, they
are
just,
arriving a bit
yeah,
earlier,
yeah.
but officially.
This Saturday is a fun day for kids it's the Learn to Fish Day. And our fire department will be participating at the hatchery. It was well attended last year. So it's from 10 till 2. So note that one. July the 4th is a SADS exercise. Pardon? Sorry, June. Point Everett is hosting the emergency exercise with the bases on the morning of June 4th. Point Everett's Canada Day is June 25th at 4 o'clock at the Waterfront Park. That's a Thursday night. And again, we always do ours ahead of the city so that everybody's freed up to go to the big parade. And Slow Roll, the bike race, or the bike ride is June 14th at 1:30, starts at the Legion and comes through Point Everett. So if anybody knows of any others events that
I have one.
Yeah.
St. Clair Child and Youth, 27th AGM is Tuesday, June 9th, 6 p.m. at the start of your riding club. All are welcome.
Yeah, I went last
Oh, we-
year. It was a good place to have it.
And there's a fantastic keynote speaker this year. She is a young person from the community who will be returning to give this address. She started working with St. Clair Child and Youth around Waihu when they were first with the hub.
Yeah.
Spoken Hope was the program. She's since moved and started her career in the field. She's coming back and she's going to do this address. It's going to be fantastic.
What time did you say it started?
6 o'clock.
And just to follow up on the Blue Water Anglers Kids Day, if there's parents watching and they want their children to participate, they do have to pre-register. They only take 100 children for the
Oh, thank
fishing
you for
part of it.
adding that, because I forgot about that. That's
it-
important to note.
Yeah, so you do have to, just to avoid disappointment, you have
Yeah.
to pre-register on their website and to participate.
Any others?
I'm going alpaca shearing on the weekend.
Oh, your annual.
Yes.
Okay, move on to bylaws.
So the first bylaw is to establish a joint compliance audit committee for the 2026 election. And that's all the municipalities in the county work together to each municipality has to establish an audit committee. If there is a complaint filed about a candidate's campaign expenses, this third-party audit committee has to come and do an investigation. And as far as I'm aware, we've never had one in Lambton County, but we nonetheless have to establish the committee. So this bylaw is to establish that committee. The city is leading the charge on this. They just put an advertisement out today, and I'll be sharing that through our social media as well. And the people that are currently on the committee have been there for at least 2 terms. Most of them anyway. So we just want to have an opportunity for new people or existing people to come back.
So you're saying one committee
One
for
committee.
Lambton?
Yeah.
Okay,
And then there's parameters like if a complaint is filed against a Point Edward candidate, Point Edward pays the costs of that
Mhm.
audit.
Okay.
There is a retainer paid to the committee members. It's not very much, but that retainer cost is split across everyone.
okay.
They get
But if there is an investigation, it's paid by us.
$50 a year. Yeah.
It's not.
No, yeah. Don't get rich on that one.
So just need that bylaw passed.
Okay, so I need a mover. Okay,
I'll move.
Council Noctor,
I can second.
seconded by Councillor Burgess. All in favor?
And then the second bylaw is our final tax levy bylaw. Treasurer would really like to send bills out in the next week or so. So
Oh, God. like,
I'll
open
I'll-
again.
I'll move that.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councillor Wontu. Any questions?
Mm.
Sorry. All in favor? Sorry,
I wasn't, no, I was thinking.
No, I was still focused on the tax bills.
And then the final business item is the confirmation bylaw today.
I'll move bylaw number 11 to confirm the resolutions of Point Edward Council adopted up to and including today's date, May 26, 2026.
Seconder, Counselor Nocturne. All in favor? Okay. Then adjournment,
I'll move to adjourn.
Seconder, Mayor Grimes, all in favor? Thank you.